One woman who had been sexually abused by her uncle for years said she would never know what it would have been like if it were me. Irene Fonseca, née Jenkins, was sexually abused by her uncle for years as a child growing up in the 1960s and 70s. But after her abuser, Anthony Mock, was jailed at Liverpool Crown Court last week, Irene boldly waived anonymity under the Sexual Offences Act to tell her story. The 59-year-old from Anfield claims he was also abused as a child by his late father. He said that his uncle, who is his mother's brother, stepped in and saved him from this abuse, but in a terrible turn, he began to abuse him. Read Schoolboy asked by teacher to have sex in locker speaking echo a few days after Mock was imprisoned, Irene said, "My uncle saw what happened to my father and used it his advantage. My uncle stepped in to save me, but in return he started harassing me. My uncle used to take me for a ride and he'd say, 'I know what your dad is doing, we need to do something about it.'" Irene's late father was found not guilty of sexually abusing her in 1979. Irene went to stay with her nanny, where her uncle also lived. "When I was there, my uncle was in control of the case when he sexually abused me," the mother of four said. This continued for years, with a brief break when he moved to a new home to live with his mother and brother. But Mock soon followed them to this address, and Irene's hell began again. It wasn't until she was 17 and had an affair that her uncle finally stopped harassing her. Irene said, "In the end, my mom asked my uncle to break up. I was 17 years old and in a relationship with a boy I was engaged to. My uncle walked in and yelled at me for being in the same bed as him. Jealous husband. He was a madman and when my mom expressed his anger, but my mom said, 'This it has nothing to do with you, given the circumstances under which you have go.'" Irene remained silent about her ordeal, but opened up in a counseling session 10 years later, but still felt she couldn't go to the police. She moved to Somerset, where she lived, before returning to Liverpool in 2010. She had trusted an aunt about years of abuse, and around 2018 she finally felt she could talk openly about it. A Merseyside Police investigation began and Irene was told there were other victims. Mock, now 75 and whose last address was on Aigburth Road, has been charged with a number of sexual offences, including 10 linked to his long-term abuse of Irene. These included accusations raping a child under the age of 16 and indecent assault against a child over and under the age 13. The court heard strong victim testimony that documented how Irene's childhood abuse continues to affect her to this day. In the statement made to Echo, "How can you write a book about the devastating effects of sexual harassment and rape on people without a book? How to put into words that you are not the person we're born with? The effects completely change your personality. It seeps into your being. It's who you are now. It's who you become. The scars it leaves are not always visible, but it's always there in every broken relationship, lost business, every decision you do, and with every breath you take. School takes away your ability to work and your ability to grow. It changes how you see the world and how the world sees you. It affects the choices you make and your ability to trust. It requires self-respect, self-belief, self-control, self-worth, and the ability to love. It makes you angry, it upsets you. It makes you feel so alone that you want to curl up, stand up and die. Never knowing a life free from pain, panic attacks, flashbacks, nightmares, stress and anxiety. Never knowing what it's like to be myself. I wish I lived a life free of all forms of sexual harassment and abuse, because how we experience the world makes us who we are." Speaking after Mock was imprisoned, Chief Superintendent Mark Drew said, "Mock subjected all of his victims to decades of horrific abuse that caused great psychological and physical damage to them. Exactly what happened during our conversations with our detectives. He made Mock spend the rest of his life behind bars by reliving some of the worst parts of his life in court. I hope this sentence gives his victims a sense of justice and comfort. If anyone knows of a child who has been sexually abused or abused, please come forward and report the situation to the police." The DCI added, "Time is not a barrier reporting crimes. I urge all victims of sexual crimes at any time to come forward and we will do everything we can help support them." Irene said her 4 children give me the strength to keep going. He told Echo, "My life is completely ruined, I want his name in the paper because no one knows what he did to me. I hope my renunciation of my anonymity gives other victims hope to come forward and not suffer alone. No matter how long it takes, your day will come. Anyone who has knowledge or wants to report a sexual offense claim is requested to call 101, where specially trained officers will meet with you. If you suspect such an event has occurred, call 999. Sexual Abuse Support Centre Cheshire and Merseyside, 01925221546 or 033036300063 or Rape and Sexual Assault Merseyside 01515581801. Support is also available through the Police and Crime Commissioner's Victim Care Merseyside Service Home Victim Care Merseyside Thomas Cashman trial continues as man accused of schoolgirl Olivia Pratt-Corbell Thomas Cashman told the jury if you want to sell drugs, you can't let people get ******. Municipality is preparing to remove the tent where Spider-Man is currently living. Encrochat drug trafficker Lemon Lager caught after taking selfie. Mango customers are dying to get the stunning midi dress they need.